All right, guys, I'm sure you've heard the phrase from American Outlaw that we don't want a black rifle or a black gun. And that's mainly because black is not a natural color in nature, not a normally occurring color in nature. Excuse me. Anyway, there are, you see behind me a lot of things that look black, and that's mainly because of shadows. The base color of all of the things in nature, hardly any of them are black. They're all brown, green, tan, whatever. Any black that you see comes from the shadows. So what that means for us and our gun is that you don't want a black gun because it will stick out. It will be contrasted against all the other stuff. It'll be too dark, and it'll be a big black object against things that aren't black. So what we're going to do in this video is talk about and go over how to camouflage one of your rifles, how to make it look like your background, how to make it not look black, how to make it blend in a little bit better, how to give it some contrast and things like that, and how to just make it look cool, because to me, spray painted rifles look way cooler than black rifles. All right, guys, before we get started, I want to tell you about the affiliate links. I've got a link below to Linktree or in the description. Go there. One of the big ones I've got is Primary Arms. This is an ad for Primary Arms. I've been using them way before I even really started YouTube, and I've been using them all throughout the process, even before I became an affiliate with them. But anyway, if you like these optics, these prisms, these magnifiers, even this Unity tactical stuff, Magpul stuff, magazines, interior parts, barrels, all that kind of stuff, you can get all that crap at Primary Arms. And if you do, please use my link, because that'll help me out just a little bit. Also, this grip, dye-free company, it's a really cool grip, almost vertical. I like it for precision rifles a whole lot. It works great on the short barrel rifle. But anyway, I've got a link to those. These are pretty cool grips. So anyway, go down there to Linktree, look through all those links, and that would help me out. Go buy you some pretty cool stuff, and I'd appreciate it. And what I'm going to show you today is just kind of a way that I do it. Most of my guns end up looking different. I kind of paint them the same way. For the most part, I've changed up like what color I use as a base and what I add later, but technique's all the same. It just depends on, what your background looks like, what kind of look you're going for. That kind of determines what your base color is going to be and what colors you add onto it. So the way I show you to do it is just the way to set it up and to kind of do it. You can pick whatever colors you want, whatever pattern you want. Like I said, this is just kind of how to set it up, how to go through the process of it. All right, so once you get your area set up, like a good place to do all this work, you get your gun, you want to get everything taped off. We're mainly talking about like any kind of numbers that you can read, like the dials on the side, elevation, windage. You also want to cover up your lenses on your scopes, all the glass. You don't want to spray those. Paint that. You don't want to paint the action, so make sure it's sealed up. Also put a magazine in the magazine well. You can use like an old one, or just use one that you want to spray paint the same color. Up on the front end where the muzzle is, if you do have a suppressor mount, you want to make sure you tape up your suppressor threads so you don't get those gummed up. Anything else you could probably just get away with, like putting a shop rag down the muzzle. You just don't want to get any paint down in the muzzle or on any threads or mounting surfaces for suppressors. So once you get everything taped up and a good area, my area sucks because I'm in the garage. It was really windy and the sun was shining real bright. It's going to mess up the paint and the lighting for the video. So I got the garage closed. Don't do that. So anyway, once you get everything going, start with your base coat. I like to do green on mine because I live in a green area. So just get some of that Krylon or Rust-Oleum. A couple different brands make it. It's just that hunting camo spray paint. Just make sure you get like a good even coat on the entire gun or the area you're painting. On this one, I'm really just painting the upper because the lower was already built, was already painted. It's just a fairly new upper that I put together, and it needed to be painted to kind of match the lower, and because I didn't like the colors that it was. Anyway, so here it is. Once it dries, you can see how flat and uniform. You got a good coat on there. You can do a second coat if you need to. You need to go back and touch it up any spots, you can do that. But Once it dries, you know, you can kind of see where you need to touch up. But yeah, good solid base coat is what we're looking for. All right, so I laid this thing down. It makes it a little easier with the mesh. This is like a laundry bag. It's got the bigger mesh holes in it. Just cut a little piece big enough to cover all my guns. I lay it over there. And now I'm kind of doing like a dark brown. Just kind of doing stripes at like a 45-degree angle, just kind of spacing them out. Trying to get some dark brown stripes in there to contrast off the green. And, you know, just trying to make sure I get the bottom of the gun and the top of the gun, you know, all the way around it, just to make that stripe uniform all the way across the gun. I'm going to go back. I think right now on this one I've got kind of a brownish, light brown color. It's supposed to be kind of like I think it ended up being a satin. I didn't really want it to be, but I think that was the only option I had available, and the can is not working well. And you'll see when I pull the mesh off that most of the brown didn't even make it. I think it just got the shiny part of the paint, like the satin gloss part is the only thing that just made like a really shiny, not brown mess on the gun. So I kind of had to fix that in the end, but you know, it is what it is. So once you get one side, you can kind of see the little mesh pattern, kind of like a little snake skin type pattern on there. That's what I was going for. Like I said, that paint was kind of messing up, and it really just kind of left the gun shiny and barely made a mesh pattern on there. But once you get the first side, flip it over, lay the mesh on the other side, and repeat the process. You got your dark brown, start with some stripes, you know, kind of make sure they go the same direction as the other side, you know, that way they kind of look uniform from side to side, and just space them out. And you know, you don't really have to match them up, but I guess it would be better and look better, make me feel better if the stripes were matched, like they touched each other, you know, went all the way around, kind of the same on both sides. Anyway, it's enough rambling. Just put some brown stripes on the gun and then come back and touch it up with the lighter color after that. Like I said earlier, make sure you get the top. When you cut your mesh, make sure it's kind of big enough to wrap around both ends, so you can kind of spray the top and the side at the same time, not have to rearrange the mesh so much. You see here, I'm just kind of dusting it with a lighter color. I think I might have used tan right here, like an actual tan. And you're just kind of dusting it. I'm not really trying to put like a full stripe, just trying to get some speckles or like some little dots, little light tan over the top, just to throw a little bit of different color on there. And like I said, I'm not trying to make an actual stripe of it. Right here, I think I'm just making the brown a little darker because I didn't like how dark it was. It wasn't contrasted enough, and I probably should have done it even darker than that to make a harder line between green and brown. Because you'll see when it's done, it just kind of, you know, to me it didn't look as contrasted as I wanted to. It just kind of looks like a greenish brown blob, but whatever. Right here, I lay the mesh back on. Got kind of a light green, and just kind of filling in a little bit with that light green in between the brown. Not really trying to make a full brown stripe, just like a little accent, because that dark green and that brown is really what I want to be the main colors. This light green and the tan and whatever else, it's just kind of like a little accent color, just a little pop, you know, in the little void spaces in between the color. But you can see kind of a little shine on there. I don't really like the paint's supposed to be really flat. That shine comes from that little brown color that I had that had a little bit of satin in it, and it kind of messed up, so whatever. I think I'd try to fix it eventually in the video, maybe by going over top of it with one of the flat colors, like a little, this might be it right here, a little dust of brown or green, something to try to mask that shine of that satin color that messed up. But at any rate, here it is all finished on the back of the truck. You see the brown and the green. Kind of like I said, it didn't contrast as much as I wanted to, but I think it'll be alright. It's better than black. Another thing I didn't mention is if you have a retractable stock, make sure it's pulled all the way out. That way your entire buffer tube gets painted. So no matter what position your stock is in, that tube is going to be painted. On this one, I forgot to max it all the way out. I think it was in 1 or 2 notches. So if I pull it all the way out, I've got some exposed buffer tube that wasn't painted. Doesn't really matter because the buffer tube was green to begin with. So another thing I like to do, I like to get as many parts and accessories in green or tan as I can. That way when the paint wears off, the color from underneath shows through on the where it is worn. The color from underneath comes through instead of black. You know, anything you can do to help kind of keep it camouflaged is better. So if you can, buy tan or green, whatever, furniture and parts. It'll just help the camo process down the road. All right, so there you go. That's a little quick video on how I like to set up painting my rifles. Like I said earlier in the video, a lot of them tend to look a little different just because I put different amounts of color, you know, and I've painted them, you know, not at the same time. I do them at different times. So kind of whatever I feel for the day, that's kind of what it ends up looking like. This rifle right here is mainly green and brown because you can tell behind me, this is wintertime in Alabama, everything's kind of brown. In the summertime and spring, everything in Alabama is green. So my main two colors, green and brown. I don't have a lot of tan on here because there's just not a lot of tan here. We have a little bit of grass that might get tan and some leaves and things, but most of the leaves are more brown and red anyway. So my main colors, green and brown. If you live out in Arizona or the desert or whatever, you might want to go like green and tan or tan and brown, something like that. Maybe some more red. But anyway, look at your surroundings. Just pick 2 or 3 prominent colors and go with that. You know, spray your lines at kind of an angle. Don't spray them like long ways or short ways, kind of give it an angle. It'll help blend it in, give it some contrast. This one didn't end up having as much contrast as I wanted. The brown and the green kind of just turned into a dull brownish green color. I kind of wanted more stripe look to break up the pattern, give it more contrast. And the little light brown color that I used, something was wrong with the can and it didn't turn out great. So I just got a little dusting of that you can barely see. But with all that out of the way, if you're on the fence about painting your gun, just get some tape, get some paint, get a little area, cardboard box, whatever, lay it out, tape it up, and just start painting it. I mean, if it looks terrible, either paint it again or just use it, wear the paint off, wait till it, you know, gets worn off to where you need to repaint again, and then do what you want to do the first time, do it that time, touch it up the second time, make it even better. But anyway, if you're on the fence, just do it. You're not going to regret it. Just paint it. It's a gun, it's a tool. You know, just paint it. It'll look cool, and don't be scared. So yeah, get your paint, get out there and make your gun look cool. We'll see y'all next time.